Hello, 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 everyone. Blessings to you all. Thank you for joining me on Reconnect All the podcast. I am your host, Katrina D. Owen, and I am here in beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It is a gorgeous day out, and I just want to take the time to tell you it's okay to stop and just breathe. So I want you to do a big inhale and exhale. Inhale one more time and exhale. And just for safe measures, do it one more time. Big inhale. And when you exhale this time, I want to hear it. And shake it off. Today's little piece of inspiration is actually a picture that I saw, some words that I saw on a friend's timeline. And it says, the path isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You continually come back to things that you thought you understood and see deeper and deeper truths. This meme, picture, whatever you want to call it, is actually on my friend's Jenny Miller, her page. A little bit about Jenny. We met. I was actually invited to do a quote unquote Reiki party. I've never done a Reiki party before, which is basically coming together and doing Reiki on more than one person at a time. This was early on in my stage of Reiki practice. And I went there and there was 3 women there and I did Reiki on each of them. And I didn't get much feedback from them. It was a nice event. It was nice. It wasn't until probably about 7 to 8 months later when I actually heard feedback from Jenny. And her words really touched my heart because I didn't realize the impact that particular session had in her life. And from then, I've just watched her grow and blossom. She is now a beautiful Reiki master. She's just her essence is just I don't know the right word. Her essence is beauty. That's what she is. So I'm going to bring Jenny on. Let's see. Hello, Miss Jenny. How are you?
You're gonna make me cry. That was the sweetest thing.
No, don't cry.
That was you. It's just nice when someone sees you. Like it when they really see you and see your heart. It's really beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm so honored to be here and so excited.
Well, it's, I want, we do live in the same town, but we don't get the opportunity to interact very often. Facebook is our connector, and I'm just glad that we have that connection so I can see you and what you do in the community, what you do just as a person is just beautiful.
Oh, well,
your Facebook tag is you're a mystic, you're a yogi, you're a sovereign star seed, a goddess, a thriver, and a twin flame. Mm-hmm. I wanted to touch on slightly because some people don't know, what is a star seed?
A star seed is just someone whose lineage, like their soul lineage, originates from other realms and other universes, or just the multiverse. I think a lot of us really are. Some of us just don't remember. I had my astrological chart done a few years ago, and it showed like several different starseed lineages through my chart. And then I just started really, when I got into my journey, I started really resonating with it. And now I realized I'm kind of a starseed who's here to have the full human experience, even the quote unquote negative or bad things. It's all a part of being a human. And as a starseed, you don't really understand any of that. You're of the stars, and it's all kind of light and just mysticism. So we have to come here to figure out what the duality is and what it means to be a human and to overcome and to go through diversity and get through all the troubling things in life, kind of, you know. So once I realized that, I stopped being emotionally attached to anything that went on in my life and realized it was just, it's kind of like research, you know. I'm here to observe it, to handle it, to witness it, and then rationally deal with it and save my emotions for the love for other people.
So so is every human a starseed, or is it?
I don't know, because I strongly believe in multiverse. So I believe that my journey is completely 100% personal to me, like a fingerprint, and that everybody's is kind of like that. So it's until you, I don't want to say for another person what their journey is, you know, because it's just mine is only about me, and yours is only about you. So it's, I feel like it's probable that a lot of people are. Some people are just not meant to remember because they're playing the roles as humans here so that we can learn the lessons. Or you know, it's just it's up for interpretation for everybody, because I feel like whatever you're living is kind of like what you're going to get. You're going to believe whatever is in your realm of life. So if you believe in different things than me, then that's what you're going to get. That's what your truth is. So
if somebody wanted to, I guess, pursue their, as you mentioned, your lineage, you know,
yeah.
where you came from, what is the first step? What should they do? What do you recommend should be the first step for somebody?
I really feel like meditation is where it starts, because once you can connect yourself to the divine, it kind of like unlocks what you need. I'm starting to tingle all over, so that means yes, I'm on the right track with what I'm saying. And it really, like, meditation is kind of what unlocked it for me, because it's like then you start to know, instead of just following the crowd of what everybody's looking into, or where the classes everybody's taking, or the workshops everybody's going to, that you kind of feel your human self pressure to go and be a part of. You start to know what you need, and you, like, a book will pop up, or even just watching a TV show like Real Housewives of something. You'll see something on there that will spark, you know, a seed in you that makes you remember something. And if you feel like you're a starseed, you probably are. You know, like, it's like if you know something, or if you're interested in something, then it's relevant to your journey here on this earth, I feel like.
Okay. I can deal with that. You know?
I mean, it's like, what you're attracted to, like, you know, because sometimes I feel like I'm not or I used to, when I used to judge myself, I used to feel like I wasn't being spiritual because I was led to watch like Dawson's Creek. But then I'd be watching Dawson's Creek reruns, and these things that they would say would make me think of something either from that time period when I was that person that I needed to remember now, or it just unlocks a whole lot of things for me personally. But I'm also, I'm a deep diver, and anything that comes up for me, I always want to explore it within myself. So I always just dive into that.
Uh-huh. So what connected us was energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
Reiki. I did Reiki on you. I did think it was about 3 years ago.
Yes, it feels.
Yeah.
It was maybe 3.5 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. It's been a couple. I know why I started Reiki, and what was my connection to energy healing. What brought you to energy healing?
Well, it's funny because a good friend of mine, she was a Reiki. She did Reiki 1 and told me about it years and years ago. And I was just like, oh, I was still in the corporate world. You know, I just listened to her. I wasn't even thinking about what it was, or, you know, just didn't even think about it. Then my friend Kirsty, or our mutual friend, told me about you. And she was always talking about this amazing Katrina. And she did Reiki on me and this and that. And so she wanted me to try it. So that's when she invited you to do the Reiki party. And when you did that for me, which it was like an hour long, this beautiful, like, all these colors started coming through, and I felt so much. And then after that happened, I ended up going through a big, like, tower moment, like, right after. And it was necessary. It was like a growth, you know, it was like a purge of programming. It was like part of my human self, and the thoughts of who I had to be started to leave me. And I knew it was connected to this energy. So that's like, you giving me Reiki was what really got me interested in wanting to know more about it, and just how magical it was and things like that. So, and once you did Reiki for me, then I was like obsessed with wanting to be able to do it myself. And Kirsty happened to tag me in a class for Reiki 1 at Shanti at the time. So I don't even know if you were teaching then yet. I don't know if you were a master yet then.
I'm not. I have to look at the timeline. I don't think so, Because I know when I did the actual party, I was not a Reiki master at the time.
Yeah.
I was Reiki 2. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I don't think I was teaching right at that moment.
Yeah, because that's when we got Reiki 1 from someone else. And then I was able to come back and get Reiki 2 from you, randomly meeting another person who led me back to you again, Lauren. Lauren Calloway. I happened to run into her at a yoga class or at the somewhere and meet her. And then she was taking your Reiki 2 with a couple of people and invited me to come along. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I'm back to you being able to be my teacher to finish it off, which was amazing. So that was just awesome. But ever since then, it's like Reiki, I'm kind of the conduit for the energy to come through. I do mostly distance healing in my family and friends and things like that. But I send it a lot. I like to be able to send it, and I feel really comfortable sending it distance wise. And I also have some Christ consciousness that comes through and some other energies that are different than Reiki that have all started flowing through me as well. So it's kind of interesting that I can feel.
Okay. So you mentioned you mentioned Christ conscience. Can you explain what that is?
Okay. Well, when I used to go to church a lot before my spiritual awakening, and I loved it. I loved the feeling, the spiritual feeling of being close to Jesus. And then kind of going through a spiritual ascension, it leads you away from that because you realize the politics of religion and kind of the controlling, all the, the human aspects that kind of ruin the spirituality part, which turned me away from Jesus. Then I went to a retreat, and a friend of mine was reading a book called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. And I read it, and I started to have all these mystical things happen to me where I was feeling the feelings of Jesus again, kind of like I did back in church, but it was without the pressure of feeling I needed to tithe or be looking good to the people around me in church, playing that role. And my boyfriend at the time was going through a lot of pain, like internal pain. And I was giving him Reiki, and I was putting my hands along his back. And something ripped open inside my heart to where I could feel it. I could just feel it coming into me. And I was crying. And I just knew it was Christ conscious energy. And it was going into my boyfriend at the time who was having this pain. And it was showing me that I could use it to heal. And it's kind of then I knew that that's what Jesus wanted for us all along, was to be able to heal and have him and that energy and that healing come through us for everyone. So it was just, it was a big time, heart opener for me.
That is beautiful. I grew up in the church, Church of God, Church of Pentecostal, Church of God in Christ, depending on where we lived at the time. I was church. I was on the usher team. I was in the choir, Bible study, I was constantly in church. I am the closest to God now than I was being in the four walls of church.
Yes.
And my relationship with God, it's mine. And it's something that I've had to being on this path. It's something that I had to really examine and figure out, make sure that I'm not going to hell, right. doing what I do, because I've been criticized so much doing Reiki over the years by those in the church, because I'm opening up the gates of hell with what I'm doing. And I felt a lot of pressure. I felt a lot of condemning because of what it is. But I knew that this was a gift from God.
Yeah.
And at some point, I just, had to take a step back and, you know what? Screw what they are saying. I am doing what I am supposed to be doing. I am, whether I'm in the four walls of a church or not, I am here. I am here to spread what God has given me. And that's my truth. Yeah. And it's not something that I realized immediately. It was definitely a journey that I had to put myself on, because I did struggle. Me and God had a whole lot of conversations trying to figure this whole thing out when I started energy healing and energy work, and being more, as people say, be more spiritual than religious. And it was definitely an internal battle. But I'm here and I'm loving it. And, it's just something that I'm glad that I was able to share with you, and and put us on this path. And seeing you are just, over the past years, you have just, it's not making a 360, because you have just grown so much. you have definitely just grown so much, and I watch you. I know we don't talk often, but I see what you are doing, and I'm proud of what you are doing.
Well, thank you. And I feel you energetically, because it's a lot of times in the spiritual community, if we don't see each other face to face, it's because we're out there helping the people who don't understand how to communicate in the energetic way. And I feel
Yeah.
like our higher selves are kind of always connecting up there, partying in the astral. All of us connect that are soul connected people. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to rise above the fear projections of others, because that's exactly what it is. They're just scared because they don't understand. And they've been told for years
Right.
that it's something that's not good when it is, and that cognitive dissonance is hard to overcome with people. So that I became very unattached to all of the people who just couldn't accept it. I love them, but I'm able to love someone and never see them again if it doesn't align. I can if it doesn't align, I'm just not going to ever take away from my soul's purpose here, which is to spread my peace and love. And I just don't have time to explain it to people who just don't want to prescribe to that way of thinking or open-minded thinking, because I don't need someone to be convinced, and I don't need to agree. I can love somebody who is believing in all the narrative that's going around right now. I can love them and allow them to be in their space and be comfortable in their what I would consider a fear-based existence, and without trying to convince them. But a lot of times they can't be comfortable with me not being able to believe what they believe. But that's not my problem
definitely
anymore.
And and I'm sure you didn't come to that conclusion immediately. That's definitely a process that we all had to go through, and accept the fact, what, I'm not here to convince people. I'm just here to just do.
Yep.
I'm going to do me, you're going to do you, and you're either going to be with me or not. That's
yeah. I mean, the more I honor my authentic true self in a fearless way, I was able to share at the Grand Strand Goddess Gathering last month, and it was about self-love. And it was funny because I had a whole prepared speech, and Leah and I co-created it. And everything I had prepared, mentally beforehand, she said before, and then she's like, "Here you go." And I was like, So Spirit comes through, and I ended up sharing a whole lot of vulnerable things about just me and my personal story and like what I've overcome through my life. I was in tears. I was, just open and vulnerable to all these women in public on the beach. And it was the medicine I needed. And then it felt like they connected with that too. So it's like Spirit giving me the opportunity to share more of me authentically. And then I rise in that person who I used to be scared to show. And I feel more like myself than ever. And it doesn't matter who likes it or doesn't like it anymore, and the right people come to me, and the right people see me. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. So you are the founder of a group called Soul Ascension Healing Collective. You can find it on Facebook. Is it someplace else other than what I know?
No, it's just on Facebook for now.
Okay. Okay. So explain to me what that is.
Well, a couple of years ago, I started it because I want all different types of healers and, people who are seeking healers or wanting to become healers to get together and share their different modalities, because we all need different things and we all want different medicine. So it was just a way for me to try to connect different healers and different people who are looking for, their match. Because, again, I feel like there's plenty for all of us to heal and to share with. And I think that having a community where people can share their business or share their gifts, and then also come and look for, other gifts. That's kind of what the thing was behind it. But now I'm just sharing whatever I want to share and things that resonate that I feel like people might like to see. And anybody can go live too if they want to, if they want to go in and share their gifts or share their business. I want them to be able to do that.
Did you feel like did you feel like that was something that was missing in your life?
Yeah, at the time on Facebook, I was involved in other groups, but it was more for the person who was leading the group. It was more for them to showcase themselves and their business, which is great, and people were connecting and stuff, but I wanted something that wasn't about me and my healing business, because I mean, my healing business is kind of led by God and source. I now that I'm stepping into my soul's purpose, I get my I just allow it to come to me, because, and I don't worry about it, and I'm always divinely supported. So I haven't really gotten even my business together as far as like in a structured way to advertise it. But I wanted everybody to be able to go on there, or someone who wasn't ready to have their own website yet and was just getting started and wanted to do some tarot readings for some people. Just, I don't know. It's just kind of like a way to get people in the together in a community who are healers and stuff. But now there are several groups like that. And now I'm a part of, even Grand Strand Goddess or her Sacred Circle, who's got stuff like that too. But I wanted it to be led by the community, not just me. I wanted it to be collectively led, like kind of like you go to one of those grocery stores where people work there, like a co-op kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So another thing that you and I have in common is we're both moms.
Mm-hmm.
My goal in life, my goal as a mom at this point is telling my children there's other things out there, and giving them the exposure and letting them know their path is theirs. Mm-hmm. And what they choose, that's them, and they're not going to get any banishment or any blacklisted because of what they decide to do, whatever it is, whether it's religion or their job or whatever. Mm-hmm. Each of my children are totally different in the way that they think. And I look back, I said, and that's what I want. I want them, I don't want them all to be cookie cutters. As a mom, what do you do, or do you just show by example?
I do show by example. My oldest one is almost 25, and she has a almost 3-year-old. So she's already out of the house, living her own life. She's very independent. When I was raising her, I was not as spiritual as I am now, but I came from a codependent family that was very up in each other's business, and I raised her to, if I were to die, she was going to have as much as I could have given her at that moment in life so she could be without me in life. I was trying to raise her to not be needy and attached to me, to live her own life. And that's exactly what she's doing right now. I'm so proud of her. She's bought her own house. She's just amazing. And then my 2 younger ones, totally different story. They're more, I think I had more time with them. So now they're a little bit more spoiled and entitled. So we're trying to break that chain there. And again, they're all so different, but yeah, it's like leading by example, letting them know I'm not perfect. I am going to be triggered. I am going to say things that are wrong, but that's how life is. Just letting them honor themselves and not to put themselves in a box. I loved having the pandemic. I didn't love the pandemic, but I loved having the break of us being together in the house, because I got to spend a lot of time, especially with my 12-year-old who's going into middle school, and she was able to not get put in that box that other kids put you in by making fun. And she's very out there with her artistic stuff and, likes to make her TikToks and do her thing. And she's comfortable with herself. So I like that she had a little bit of time to build that muscle before going back into school.
Right.
Just kind of allowing them to be who they are instead of what I feel they want, what they think I need them to be. Because I grew up, wearing what my mom wanted me to, or doing what my family thought I should do, and feeling and not loving myself. So really self-love is the most important thing I think that they need. And that's exactly what I'm trying to teach them. And the other stuff I want them to just figure out on their own. Well, me loving them.
Just throw them off the bridge. Figure out how to swim.
Well, and when you understand energy too, when you understand energy, you can teach them about it, and they've got a big aura that kind of protects them with that stuff. But yeah. I mean, yes. I don't want to hold their hand too much, because they need to realize how much they can do themselves and build that self-esteem muscle.
So what do you recommend? We're about to wrap things up. Mm-hmm. If somebody was to come to you, someone wants to grow. Mm-hmm. Someone wants to figure things out. They feel stuck. They feel like they're in that bubble, like they're in that box, and they want to break free. Mm-hmm. What advice can you give somebody?
Really just to bring it back to center and just be here now, and then find the first thing that comes up and just work on that. I think a lot of times we get so overwhelmed and we start looking outside of ourselves for this thing that's going to fix whatever's going on, or to give us clarity, whatever's going on. And that's always, to me, it's like a figure eight. If anything's going outward, it's like, nope, I got to bring it back in, because it's always in here. And then once I fix what's in here, everything out there kind of settles into place the way it's supposed to. So getting really comfortable with just being in that place of uncertainty, because the answers will come, but to be able to be in the stillness, to hear your God, or hear your creator and understand, that's what it's really hard to overcome. But once you do overcome it, it becomes easy. But that was where it was unlocked for me. You know, I was always busy looking for comfort in things outside of myself. Once I really sat there and connected with the divine in meditation or just contemplation to get to meditation, that's when it all unlocked for me. And then just forcing myself to take that time, you know, and it was hard because I'm not one that has any kind of willpower or like I'm not. I like to be lazy and do what I want when I want. So the self-discipline was very difficult for me. So that's really where it is, just to have the self-discipline to take a few minutes every day and just start with a couple minutes, you know, and then increase it and just make that your time to put your oxygen mask on.
Well, Jenny, on that note, thank you so much for joining us. Just so you know, I know you saw my first podcast well, you didn't see it. You heard my first podcast with Javon, and now this podcast, actually, people are actually watching us and hearing us, and so you look beautiful. And I want to thank you for joining me. And don't forget to breathe.
Yes.
Just take couple of breaths each day, and that's what I have my little bracelet on that says relax, unclench, and just breathe. And that is my reminder, just to you have to just breathe. Mm-hmm. You have a wonderful day and enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.